Charles, I want to start with me because this Thursday I'll be in Pittsburgh for Steelers Titans, and Will Levis is expected to get the start. Now the Titans are doing the whole, yeah, he'll start if Ryan Tannehill is unavailable with his right ankle sprain, his high ankle sprain that
Right.
cost him his Week 8 start. But after becoming the third player in NFL history to debut with 4 touchdown passes, you know the other two, by the way? You know the pop quiz? You know who the other two are?
Fran Tarkenton and
Former Tennessee
some,
Titan, second
some
overall pick,
someone. Oh, Marcus Mariota. Yeah, I knew it was
Marcus
someone who
Mariota.
didn't make it. I knew it was I knew it
Yeah,
was a
right.
wide. It was like Fran on one end, and the other guy on the other was Marcus Mariota on the other end.
Yeah. Will Levis, Marcus Mariota, and Fran Tarkenton. That's the club of individuals to throw 4 touchdown passes in their NFL debut. So I will see Will Levis in start number 2 at Pittsburgh. Did the Titans fool around and find themselves one in the second round? Because, like, Will Levis is fascinating to me. I saw him at the Combine, got a chance to talk to him. I like the kid. I know pre-draft, all kinds of bullshit flies around about kids
Right.
pre-draft, but, personality-wise and what makes them tick, whether they can, get a locker room to follow them if they're a quarterback. I really remember liking Will Levis when I interviewed him at the Combine for Gets It. And he was kind of the forgotten guy, slipped in the first round. He was that infamous cutaway, the cutaway to him and his family as he was slipping in the first round, out of the first round. Titans trade up with the Cardinals, who had acquired the Texans' second round pick, 33rd overall. Titans trade up and stop the slide for Will Levis. We talked about C.J. Stroud and how historic his start was. Bryce Young finally gets his first win at the expense of C.J. Stroud, by the way. And Anthony Richardson flashed before getting hurt. Nobody really been thinking about Will Levis, and bam, here he is with 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah, it's interesting too the way he ended up with the Titans. I mean, I don't know if the story will ever get fully told, but I think it was very much an ownership-inspired draft pick. I do believe that. I think that if it were entirely Mike Vrabel who were making the decision, I think they might have, instead of investing, 2 picks. Now looking back, obviously there can be some alteration of memory looking back, but I think at the time, Mike Vrabel would have loved to have had 2 other, those 2 picks that turned into Will Levis. He would love to have been able to invest those 2 picks into, other parts of the depth chart. They had just taken Malik Willis in the 3rd round the year before.
Well, real quick, Charles, let me give you the full trade, because this was interesting about the full trade. So the Titans traded the 41st overall pick in 2023. That's B.J. Ojolari to the Cardinals, along with the 72nd overall pick in 2023. That's Garrett Williams, I beg your pardon, Garrett Williams to the Cardinals, the defensive back, not Garrett Wilson, right? And a 2024 3rd-round pick. But it was a swap of 3rd-round picks in 2023. You know who the Titans took with the 81st pick? Tajay Spears.
Oh, okay.
Tajay Spears. Yeah. So
pick.
Not bad by Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon. But anyway, you were saying it was the real story is this an ownership-inspired selection.
I do think it was an ownership-inspired selection. I think the coaching staff at the time, maybe not everybody, but I know there were certain individuals on the coaching staff who were like, okay, so we're going to do this. And it was, I think there was an element of Will Levis that I think the Titans saw, many teams saw, where remarkable level of confidence for Will Levis. I mean, an element of cockiness that I think at times, can rub some teams the wrong way. I think some teams didn't like him because they look at boxes with quarterbacks and they go, here's another one of these guys that's like a gym guy. He's cut, he's big. Not a lot of big gym guys make it at the quarterback position historically. Just all kinds of things. And then when you looked at the tape, he had this reliance on his arm where he would do questionable things. He'd make questionable decisions, and often it was because of his confidence in his arm. That happens with a lot of big-armed quarterbacks. And then just the question of, is he a leader, or is this like kind of like a Jay Cutler? Is there like just a vibe to him where
Yeah.
it's going to rub some people the wrong way, or this cockiness is going to be taken the wrong way, whatever. Again, I think if truth be told, if everything came out, we'd find out that ownership did kind of lean into that pick being made. And what I think is interesting about this was when I went through there in training camp and I watched, you would see all the hallmarks of what you expected. His arm was exquisite. Like, and instantly you're like, oh my God, the tools, the size, you get it. You understand just in terms of the prototypical aspects of what he was. And then again, that arm strength, you're like, it's easy to figure out why some people instantaneously probably fall in love with what they see in terms of the eyeball test. But when I was there, he also tried to fit some balls into bad spots, things that were almost picked up, tipped passes.
Well, Malik Willis was beating him out, right? At one point, Malik Willis was ahead of him as Ryan Tannehill's understudy.
Yeah, Malik Willis had taken a big step, and it was funny because even when I was there, you saw the things that Levis was doing where you were like, oh man, that's going to get him in some trouble when the games start. And then things with Willis, it was, you could hear Vrabel kind of like, let's go, speed, tempo, let's go, pick it up. So both players, you're kind of like, all right, I can see Ryan Tannehill's going to start this year. Like, it wasn't hard to see in camp why Tannehill was going to start. Now, once Will Levis gets in there, what I think was interesting about this day was, if you look at the 4 touchdown passes, right, which all showcased a level of arm strength. The first touchdown pass, DeAndre Hopkins had to wait for it, and it was also offensive pass interference. And this is not to dig on Will Levis. I mean, let's be 100 about it.
Sure.
First touchdown pass.
We're not putting him in Canton yet.
No,
let's not put him in Canton yet. Let's be honest about it.
Let's approach it realistically, right? Yeah. Because you see the box score and you go, "Oh my God!" Let's look at the actual
made history.
Yeah. So first touchdown pass, OPI, deep throw, but DeAndre Hopkins had to wait for it. Second one, zip, short area pass behind DeAndre Hopkins, but catchable. It was a fine ball. I think you want to clean it up a little bit, but it was fine. It was a good pass. DeAndre Hopkins spins, runs it in, a yak touchdown in some respects, right? Third touchdown pass, receiver breaks wide open. Again, deep throw, but it had to slow down to catch the ball, but did illustrate some arm strength. But the fourth touchdown pass to me was the one where you're like, oh my God, okay, number 2 was a short area crossing, pass, throws behind, but got some zip. The fourth one, though, you're like, that is everything. The guy is
that's it. Yeah.
rolling back to his right. Giving the wide receiver time to get open on a deep route, and then throws it without his feet completely set. It was more of a flick throw than a put your entire body into it throw. He throws across his body. The throw is diagonal across the field, and it was perfect. And you're talking like 50 yards in terms of yardage, but the air yardage had to be 65? I mean, it had to be. It was one of the most ridiculous passes I think I've seen this entire season at all. And to me, you're like, okay, this is it. This is why you get sucked in with Will Levis and the arm and all this stuff. Now moving forward, when you see him in Pittsburgh, now they have to clean up everything else. It's a lot of the short area stuff. It's a lot of, okay, what happens when there's pocket pressure and he's getting hit? The pocket, I thought, for the most part at times held up well for him. What's going to happen when he's under duress? What are the decisions he's going to make when he starts to rely on his arm? And what is the interception going to look like? Are there going to be tips that are dropped? Or we haven't gotten to the point, it's one game. So very nice debut, a lot of great stuff to start to build on. I think it's a good thing that they're stepping into getting a good, hopefully extended look at him though.
Hey, thanks so much for kicking it with your main man, Michael Smith. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, but also subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Rate it, review it, tell your friends about it. Oh, and be sure to follow me on social media.